Looks like we have some good old-fashioned market manipulation going on TCG Player. Let's look at it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. You're watching the channel Dr. Applesauce 2. My name's Will. It's another beautiful day here in Texas. I hope you guys know that I love you, God loves you, that there is an awesome plan for your life. So somebody in my Dr. Applesauce Discord sent me some screenshots showing me what I can only describe as blatant market manipulation on Destined Rivals, specifically Destined Rivals booster boxes on TCG Player. I'm going to jump into this and look at all of this with you, but I want you guys to understand that this is just a microcosm example of something that honestly happens often on TCG Player and on eBay. It's just a part of the hobby that is unfortunate, and I don't really know what to do, but I want to show this to you guys just so that y'all can be aware of it as well. If you've ever seen any evidence of market manipulation on any of these platforms, let me know what you found in the comments below. But let's jump right over here to TCG Player. All right, you can see TCG Player right here. I've got the Destined Rivals booster box listing or page pulled up, and we're just gonna dive into a few things, okay? So the first thing that I want to notice is I want to take a look at the snapshot right here. So if you look at the snapshot right here, you can see that there was a dip and then there's a big, massive increase really quickly right there. So let's go to the 1 month snapshot. So if we look right here on September 17th, market average of about 380, 399 the day before, 18th, 394. So that's all pretty consistent. September 19th. So this is 3 days ago. September 20th, 397, 2 days ago, same market average. Yesterday jumps up $100 yesterday. 54 items sold, anywhere from $379 to $725. The market average spikes by $100. That's a 25% increase in 1 day. And then we're still holding strong right around $480 to $500. Now, what has happened to cause that? What would cause a 25% increase in the market value of the Destined Rivals booster box so quickly, when if you look at the 6 month average, it's been pretty regular, and then we just have this massive spike right there. Okay, so what we want to look at is we want to go ahead and we want to look at the view more data. So let's take a look at this view more data right here, and this is going to bring up sales figures, recent sales figures. Okay, what you're going to see is you're going to see on the 21st, the day that we saw the spike go from about $400 to $500 average, you're going to see a couple sales that are really, really interesting to me. Okay, so I just want to point them out first. So starting right here, 9/21/25, we have 2 sales for $543, and then we have another for $565, and then we get 2 for $595. Then we get 1 for $650, 1 for $699, and 1 for $725. So in the span of a single day, we go from just a little bit over market value to $725 or $325 over what the average sales are in 1 day. And when you look at currently, there's 68 listings. At that time, on the 21st, when that was happening, there was dozens of listings available for, let's just say, around $400. Why would you pay $650, $725 to purchase a booster box on TCG Player when there's plenty of other listings available around that $400 price point? And just to kind of, we'll get to that in a second, but just to kind of prove that, if we go past 921, let's just go to like 919 or 920, you can see that some of the average purchase prices were about, you know, 350, 429, 400. It was about an average of what we saw consistently on that graph. You know, market price was around the $400 point. And so you can see the day before, sales were around that $400 point, right? 400, 350, 400, 429. You got some, you know, Korean boxes that shouldn't be in here, but they are for whatever reason. 399, even on the 21st, 380, 380, 380, 379, 420. So you see, it was all pretty consistent up until we get to this one sale. Lots of sales around that 400 point, and then it starts to increase a little bit, and then we start seeing those sales of 500 plus, and then the 725 and the 699, and then they start to sell for more, $490 today. And now there is a market price average of $494 or $500, approximately 25% higher than what it was 2 to 3 days ago. And what's interesting is now if you go and look, basically the floor of a Destined Rivals booster box is now approximately $500. You can see now it's hard to find anything much lower than $500, $498, $492, $519, $545. So effectively, the price or the floor of a Destined Rivals booster box has been increased by $100 from those few sales. And here's the thing that's very interesting, and I have to kind of bring this up and think about this and talk about this. Why would somebody pay $725, $650 for a booster box on TCG Player when there were other listings readily available that were selling for market price, that were probably selling for, just under $400, even $450? Why would you spend $720 on a booster box that is available for a better price, for arguably $300 cheaper? Can you think of a reason why anybody would do that? There's only one reason why anyone would do something like that. It's because you know that if you do, that if your buddy theoretically buys one for $550 that's listed by your buddy, and then your other buddy buys one for $650, and your other buddy buys one for $650 that's listed by another buddy, and then somebody else buys one for $725 that's listed by another buddy, and if you're potentially just buying all this stuff from each other, and then what's going to happen is other people that are selling on TCG Player are going to see that happening, and you're going to see listings get pulled and prices of these listings increase. And then what's going to happen is exactly what happened. The floor price of the Destined Rivals booster boxes was increased from essentially $400 to approximately $500. And then the losses that you may or may not have had buying those boxes around, well, now you can go and you can upload your position of 100 booster boxes at, $490 and look like a hero, when you just potentially increased your profit margins by $100 per booster box by doing that. And there are stores, I'm not calling any stores out, but there are stores that magically uploaded 50 booster boxes, 100 booster boxes right after this happened. Very strange, very interesting. And when you look at this situation like that and you see these big spikes that happen seemingly out of nowhere when there shouldn't be sales that high, when there's other things available at a better price, it becomes clear to me that this is how the market can get manipulated. This with this Destined Rivals booster box, this is just one example of how this is done. And we've seen this done with cards. We've seen this done with many cards before. This happens with a lot of things. This happens even on pre-orders of product beforehand. And you know what's happened is, even if those sales end up being erroneous or whatever, the floor has been raised. The floor has been risen, right? Same thing that happens with like all of the Phantasmal Flames or the Mega Evolutions, pre-orders that happened, that people bought those with their bots, listed those on eBay, sold them for whatever it was, $300 in ETB. And then even though Pokemon Center did go behind and cancel all of those, well, the sales threshold has already been set on eBay. Now, typically I like to give solutions. I don't have any solutions, but this is a good way that you can look and see if something's wrong, see if something doesn't seem consistent, see if something doesn't seem right, to just be aware, and maybe like it can help you make your buying decisions or help you to be patient and not make buying decisions. I'll leave that up to you, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Does this look like market manipulation to you? Because it definitely does to me. I'd love to know it down below. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up because it's free, and that really does help the channel a whole lot. And like I always say, find somebody to love and serve today. Be the change you want to see in the world. See you next time.